This clip is brought to you by SaveWithConrad.com. Next up, we've got Charlotte beating Nikki Bella to win the Divas title in 12 minutes and 41 seconds. Meltzer liked it. He gave it 3.5 stars. He would say Charlotte was limping, but put Nikki in the figure 8 for the submission, and Nikki tapped furiously with both hands. After the match, Ric Flair came in and started crying as Charlotte was announced as champion. They treated the title change like it was a real big deal, which they needed to do. A lot of it seeming like a big deal had to do with Rick being there. She limped and strutted with him after the match, and then she started crying with him. One of the reasons both cried in this situation is that essentially Ashley is living out her younger brother Reed's dream. So when she's successful, it's like it honors his memory. This was nothing like the NXT matches, but it was a level above most of the WWE women's bouts. And a lot of that in this case was due to Nikki's work. Pretty remarkable to see in hindsight. We know this is going to begin one hell of a run for Charlotte on the main roster. And I think a lot of people would point to this and say this was the transition, the full transition, the passing of the guard, if you will, to this new era of women's wrestling in WWE. But you and I, said for a long time here on the show, we were big fans of what Nikki was doing. What'd you think of the match? And, what'd you think of the extra garnish of having Rick there and Ashley when she wins looking up? I mean, it's a pretty cool little moment for the whole family and people who know the story, right?
You bet. You bet. And Nikki Bella that night went out and made Charlotte earn her victory, and she had Brie there with her. So in essence, you had the advantage of the distraction. Perfect scenario, basically 2-on-1, not really, but sort of. And Nikki was established, and she went out and she made Charlotte earn it. She had to work her butt off to get that victory. And the fact that who her dad, is, when he came in that ring, it wasn't about him. It was about her. And that's what you took away from it. And it was the dawning of a new day combined with all these other great talented women that were fixing to just flood the place. And they were talented, that was like a stepping stone to a new era. And it was emotional. I was very happy for Charlotte. Nobody works harder. Nobody is more plugged in. Nobody loves the business more and is a better professional. You got media to do at 5 a.m. You bet. Got no clothes. What the hell? I'll go buy them. She's a pro in every sense of the word. And, she was one of the leaders of that revolution with the women. And that was the day you could pinpoint that changing of the guard. And I thought Mickey and Bree did a good job of getting her started.
It's pretty special to see this one happen. And they do a cool little backstage segment with Ric Flair and Charlotte and Paige and Becky Lynch talking about going partying in Houston to celebrate the big title win. It was a cool moment, not just for Rick, but for Ashley and Nikki and everybody. I mean, this is the end of Nikki's really long run here as Divas champ. I mean, this is the record at the time. So she's going to be the longest reigning at this point. Lots of rumor and innuendo at the time that, they made sure she could beat AJ Lee's record. Of course, AJ Lee at the time was married to CM Punk, and he was certainly in opposition with the company at the time. Did you ever hear that talk that, WWE's so spiteful about CM Punk that they want to make sure that Nikki beats AJ Lee's record? Is that a bit of a stretch, or do you see it?
I wouldn't have listened to that. It went in one ear and out the other. You can't run a business like that. I don't know that things would have been that way. I may be wrong. I don't know, but the fact is you went out, you performed. If you were just better than everybody else or you were getting over, you were going to be used. And, all the politics and everything about who's married to who, I try not to get involved in that or even try to sort through it because business is business and that's it.
Let's switch gears here. Around the same time, the WWE signs Asuka, Nikki Cross, and Ember Moon. Obviously this is, the beginning of a really big women's revolution in WWE What do you think of those three talents in particular? We haven't spent a lot of time talking about those three.
All very unique. Nikki's was over the top, Wild Woman, Ember, did some really cool stuff, had a really different, almost like a demon look to her, which was cool. Who was the third party we're talking about?
Asuka.
Asuka, ass kicker. And, the Japanese girls are raised just like the Japanese boys, make it credible, make it believable, and very talented, so it was the beginning of a percolating women's division fixing to pop.
We've also got some other news that Sarah Stock has been hired by the WWE. She's going to become an agent later on. Did you get a chance to work with Sarah, and what'd you think of her?
I did, and I think she had a really good grasp on working with the ladies and cooperating with the ladies. She was up on the main group of producers for a while, and then she decided, I think, to go back to NXT. I think that was her choice. But from what I saw with her working with the girls, she had a good rapport and was a good coach.
Hey, it's Conrad Thompson. Thanks for checking out the podcast here on YouTube. Be sure to hit the subscribe button and the notifications bell so you get a notice anytime we upload some new content. And go save yourself some money right now. If you're in a 30-year loan or you have credit card debt, it's not a matter of if I can save you money. It's a matter of how much. Find out right now for free at SaveWithConrad.com.